Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is going to be my UFC Vegas 42 post-fight reaction for Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. We'll talk about some other fights on the card, but we're mainly going to talk about the main event. I did a full live stream for the main card. You guys can check out my reactions there. It's on the channel. I don't ever private my live streams. But in this live stream, you guys said do a live stream post fight. Usually, I only do it for bigger cards, but I figured sometimes it's actually a little bit faster for me to do because YouTube automatically uploads it as I'm live. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna go through my post fight reaction to the main event and most of the fights on the card. If you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, just put them in the chat, and at the end of the video, I will read through the chat and see what you guys are asking, what your guys' opinion are, and get answers to any questions I may have asked you in the live stream. Let me know real quick, if you can, how does the audio sound? Does the audio sound all right? Let me know in the chat before I go through this, because once I click off of here, I'm not really looking at the chat. I'm just looking through the card and trying to remember everything that went on. So I just want to make sure everything sounds right. So let me know in the chat, if you can, that everything sounds good. Thank you guys all for joining me. If you joined me for the live stream for the fights, thank you. If you're joining me now for this post fight, I appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy these live streams for immediately following the fights. Seems like you guys do. That's why I'm doing this one. I feel like, if there's ever a fight that I'm going to do a live stream post fight reaction, it's going to be Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. That's a big fight, and this was an amazing fight. And I'm going to get to it in a second. Just let me know real quick in the chat. Everything sounds good. I'm hoping everything sounds good. It seems like sometimes I might have a problem with OBS. It looks like my mic is flaring properly. New Mexico Luche Libra says the audio is good, so I appreciate it. Make sure to like the stream. If you have any questions, comments, put it in the chat, and I'll get to it at the end of the video. I'm not going to read the chat while I'm going through the fight card. So you look at the main event, Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez, an amazing featherweight fight on paper. This was originally scheduled for July. It gets moved. Max Holloway pulled out for whatever reason. November 13th, 2021, this fight finally happens. And I thought that Max Holloway was the far superior striker. He gets the win via decision. But honestly, I'm on the Max Holloway hype train, but as impressive as this performance was for Max, I can't believe this performance from Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez won the first round, and it was very close. I could have went either way. I'd probably lean Max. There is a case to be made that Yair Rodriguez won this fifth round. And for Yair Rodriguez to win a fifth round against Max Holloway, or even for it to be debatable, again, I lean Max Holloway taking that fifth round. But for it to even be debatable is insane. So this fight went down. I predicted Yair to get finished in the third or fourth. I thought the pressure from Max and the volume from Max would be too much. And Max won the fight. He won 3 or 4 rounds. I think Yair took the first round. Yair was looking great in the first round. He was heavily damaging Max Holloway's lead leg. Max majority fought this fight through southpaw, and it was because Yair was just brutalizing that lead calf of Max, and he started right on the first round. He was kicking the inside and the outside of it, just absolutely brutalizing it. And what was crazy is Max would switch stances, and then when he would switch back to throw some of his strikes, immediately Yair was right on that calf again. And in the first round, Yair looked good with the hands, and that was so surprising because we always known that Yair has amazing kicks. You look at certain guys like Anthony Pettis back in his prime. There's guys that don't have the best hands, but they have amazing kicks. And Yair's one of those guys, but tonight his hands looked great in this fight. I mean, in the first round, I think he rocked Max. I can't remember. There was so much that went on this card in general. And given my immediate reaction, it's so hard to remember everything that went down. But in the first round, Yair was getting the better of Max. He was kicking the leg. He was kicking the body. He landed a nice flush head kick at one point. Wasn't a lot of power behind it. But Max either rocked Yair or Yair stung Max. And then I think Yair rocked Max. Max started to rush in. Or no, Yair started to... Hold on. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember how it went down. I think Max hurt Yair or stung Yair. I don't want to say like he was completely wobbled. Yair started to back up, and then Yair rocked Max and then had Max backing up. It was just a crazy first round. I gave it to Yair. I just thought he landed the more effective striking. He was pressing Max. Second round, more of the same. Yair was doing very well early on, but then you could feel it. And it wasn't as drastic as I thought what was going on, but it was there. Yeah, and Max said it in between rounds, or his corner said it in between rounds. Yair is starting to wilt. And if Yair has the same cardio as Max Holloway, I'll be the first to say this. Maybe this is a hot take. If Yair has the same cardio as Max Holloway, Yair beats Max Holloway with ease. That is crazy. That is crazy to say that. Yair looked great in that first round. And he looked great for the first half of the second round. But the second he started to slow down, just a notch, Max Holloway could sense it, and he was pressing forward, snapping Yair's head back with jabs. What's crazy is, for all the talk of Max Holloway's hands and his boxing, people always talk about it, Max says, I'm the best boxer, then Yair must be a damn good boxer himself, because Yair had his hands down by his waist, and even when he was tired, he was dodging a lot of the punches that Max Holloway was throwing. Max, and I feel like a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I love Max Holloway, okay? I love Max Holloway. I feel like he gets too much credit. I don't want to say he's overhyped, but I think people are unrealistic about his actual skill set. Because when Max Holloway presses forward sometimes and he's throwing these combinations and these volume of strikes, he leaves his chin straight up in the air, and he can be countered. And I really thought at one point, I was watching that first round, and I said, you know what? Yair, if he can find the right punch, he can sleep Max. And I know Max's durability combined with his stamina and volume is what really wins him fights. But in this fight, Max was pressing forward, looking very, very sloppy on the feet, and was very susceptible to counters. And I think, somebody maybe with as good a stamina as Max, Volkanovski, I know those fights were very close, but I feel like somebody with the right power and the right accuracy can take advantage of Max in that respect. But as that second round went on, Yair's the stamina just went down a notch. And Max started just pressing it on him. And Max was chopping the legs. Max was using, he was stepping in, throwing knees to the body. There were some grappling exchanges in this fight. I can't remember in which rounds the grappling exchanges. There was at one point that Max had a really tight guillotine, but Yair rolled to his back and was able to escape it. There was a point, I think was it in the second round or third round? I think it was in the third round. Max got to take that. And that's crazy because I really feel like the difference in this fight was the damage that Max did on the ground. The striking was relatively even. Max obviously started to get more output as the fight went on, and he could sense Yair starting to slow down, and the power wasn't as drastic. And, but Yair was hanging in there. Yair had his hands at his waist, and he was slinging combinations, and he was landing on Max Holloway. He kicked him in the body multiple times hard, had Max's body brutalized. And, for a person, when I look at my personal opinion on Yair Rodriguez leading into this fight, Yair looked impressive, but he hasn't really fought anyone. The best one he has is against Korean Zombie. He was going to lose a decision. He got a Hail Mary upward elbow. How often would that ever happen? How rare is that? And I wasn't a big believer in Yair. But what I will say is this is the second time at featherweight alone that we've seen guys take time off. Yair's been out for over 2 years. He hasn't fought since he beat Jeremy Stephens. And Yair came back and looked better than ever. Now, I think he still needs to work on the takedown defense. He was taken down in multiple rounds. And I really believe that was the difference in the fight. And as the fight went on, to get back to the round-by-round analysis a little bit, second round goes to Max. Just too much volume, out-grappling him. Yair was still kicking the leg, brutalizing Max's leg. But Max took the second round. But it was kind of close, but I thought it was clearly Max. Third round is when Max really started to put it on Yair. The pressure, he just upticked that pressure, really started walking Yair down, landing combinations, mixing in the grappling. I think the third round was the round he had him in full mount. And what was great about Max is he wasn't just trying to go crazy and throw these wild strikes on the ground and let Yair up. He was picking his shots. And at one point in the fight, he had a nice head-arm arm triangle on Yair, but it was too close to the fence, so Yair was able to escape. There's so many points of this fight that you can look at Yair, and I hate to do this because Yair's the losing fighter. But you can look at Yair and say, damn, that was impressive. His grappling on the ground. He was in 2 tight submissions against Max Holloway, and he was able to escape him. The fact that he was able to outbox Max in some exchanges, and had he not really got exhausted, I think he could have won this fight. Or not exhausted, but tired. Fourth round, more of the same from Max. Max piecing him up, walking him down, snapping his head back. But these weren't blowout rounds by any means. They weren't close, but they weren't blowouts. The one round with the full mount was a blowout round, kind of. You could consider that one. And then the fifth round, I really thought, okay, after seeing that fourth round, I said Max is going to turn it up in this fifth round and really work Yair over and, maybe stop him in this fifth round. Yair just looked tired. He looked busted up. Had a mouse under his eye, had a cut under the eye. And Yair arguably won that fifth round. I mean, it's up for debate. I love this fight. It was a great competitive fight. Yair is an elite fighter without a doubt. And I want you guys, because I'm going to get to the chat after I'm done going over my post-fight reaction. I want you guys to let me know in the chat. Is this the most tired you've ever seen Max Holloway? Because Max Holloway looked tired in that fifth round. Yair looked a little bit more tired, but Max Holloway looked tired in the fifth round. And I think you could easily give Yair that fifth round. I got to go back and rewatch it. This is just my initial reaction. I don't remember everything. Scoring it live, especially when I'm doing a live stream, is a little bit harder than watching the fight, by myself, not trying to concentrate on commentate what I'm seeing and everything like that. But there's a case to be made, and there's so many bright spots. I mean, Yair's hands looked great in this fight. Yair's leg kicks, he brutalized the calf of Max Holloway, and I really believe that Max Holloway was mixing in the grappling so much because he got a couple takedowns throughout the fight. He mixed in the grappling because of those calf kicks. They were really wearing on him and hurting him badly. Yair got a takedown or two in this fight, and even off one takedown of Max's, Yair was able to reverse Max and end up in the more dominant position. So this was a back and forth fight. Max probably took rounds 2 through 5, but you could give Yair 1 and 5 potentially. And it proved that Yair belongs in the discussion of the elite of the elite. I've talked about it many times. I'm not for elevating a guy off a loss. But my opinion, even though I picked Max to win this fight, my opinion on Yair was way off. Yair belongs in there with a Volkanovski. He belongs in there with a Holloway. And maybe if he can improve that stamina just a slight bit, and if he can improve that takedown defense, because we've seen him have issues with his takedown defense in the past against Frankie Edgar, against Max Holloway in this fight. I don't know, I think Volkanovski would take the grappling route against Yair. But without a doubt, Yair belongs in the conversation. I didn't really think that leading into this fight. I know he was really good, but Jeremy Stevens win, that's his best win. I know Korean Zombie too, again, but I'm talking about, that Korean Zombie was arguably a fluke win. He had lost, he was going to lose the decision, gets the KO with 1 second left. I consider Korean Zombie the better fighter, even though that's not necessarily what the record reflects. But a lot to take away. Max Holloway again, and I know I've been singing Yair's praises, and I almost sound like a Yair fanboy here, but Max looked incredible as always. This guy is so durable, can put out so much volume. He was walking Yair down for the majority of the fight, just throwing nasty combinations. He was ripping hooks to the body. He was ripping kicks to the body. He was returning with his own leg kicks. And for as many hard leg kicks as he ate and they were having an effect on him, he dealt with them. There's lesser guys that would have been crumpled off the leg kicks that Yair was throwing. I mean, I would love to see the stat on how many leg kicks that Yair Rodriguez landed on Max's left calf. He landed them nastily and just repeatedly. And the fact that Max can absorb that type of damage, and there was a nasty head kick that landed. There were some hard punches. Max Holloway very rarely ever gets rocked, and it's just absolutely astounding to me that he's able to walk through some of these shots. And I don't know what's next for Max. Max said, "I'm the best, so people can seek me out." He mentioned Volkanovski. He mentioned potentially an Oliveira fight, moving up to lightweight. He mentioned a Conor McGregor fight. So there's a lot of options for Max. I think the UFC probably books. Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3. A lot of people think Max won the first 2 fights. I think the first fight was clearly Volkanovski. I think the second fight was very close, but I gave it to Volkanovski as well. But I can't wait to see where Yair goes next. I think I might make a video what's next for Yair Rodriguez because there's a lot of great options. And I think nobody's stock goes down tonight. I think Max's stock goes up, able to absorb the damage, able to walk through the damage, able to put the pressure on Yair in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, or really 3rd, 4th round. Land the shots. The jab looked phenomenal. I think he needs to work on his striking defense a little bit. The chin is a little bit up in the air. He would worry me against more of a power striker, and even was worrying me a little bit in this fight. But I'm happy to get another prediction correct. My main event predictions were pretty good. I would like to see, Max incorporate that wrestling more into his game. I don't think he can out wrestle Volkanovski, but for him to go in there and out wrestle Yair, that's not super impressive. But I just like to see when you have high level fighters mixing in everything they have in their arsenal. And Max does it well with the striking, but he very rarely ever mixes in the grappling. And the guillotine was tight. Yair rolled to his back to get out of that. Then also, that arm triangle against the fence was very tight, and Yair got out of that too. Yair's jiu-jitsu looked pretty good. He was rolling for a couple leg locks, left himself susceptible to some damage. I didn't like the way he was kind of curling up in the full mount, when Max had the full mount on him. Just because, it almost looked like, okay, it's a matter of time before he gets stopped. But he was able to fight out of it, get his way back to his feet. There was one point in time where he had his toes in the fence, and Mark Goddard had to pull the toes out of the fence. I didn't like that. I hate when guys are just cheating blatantly. And I know it's probably just what happens in fights. Sometimes you just do things you're not supposed to do, but it was annoying. There was 2 eye pokes in the fight. Neither one were super treacherous. What I did not like, and I hate to be the complainer, and this doesn't really matter, didn't affect the outcome of the fight. Max got poked in the 4th or 5th round, and he was really putting on a clinic at this point. And it looked like it was really starting to go downhill for Yair. Max got poked, and he was fine. He said, "Let me go." Mark Goddard said, "No, wait a minute. Let's wait." No, you should. If Max said he was fine, let him go forward because he was getting the upper hand. The momentum was all going his way. So I didn't like that by Mark Goddard. But let's talk about some other fights. Again, guys, if you have any questions, comments, put them in the chat. I'm going to read the entire chat when I'm done going through the fights. But spectacular main event. Max Holloway gets the win by decision. Lots of opportunity for Max Holloway next. And I think he's down to fight anyone. You got to respect him for willing to stay active. And, people already think he's the champion. And to stay active and fight a killer like Yair. And also for Yair to be off for 2 years and come back and fight Max into I don't want to say it was super close, but a very competitive fight. And what I was mentioning before, and I don't know if I ever got to my point, this is the second time within the featherweight division we've seen guys take long times off and come back and look better than ever. Brian Ortega after the Max Holloway beating, and now Yair Rodriguez after the Jeremy Stephens win. Let's move on and talk a little bit more about the rest of the card. I'm not going to do too much. Ben Rothwell gets absolutely destroyed in the first round. Couple leg kicks by Rogério de Lima. Then he just sprints. I think he landed a left hand. Then Ben Rothwell stumbles backwards. Then Rogério de Lima just rushes forward with crazy hook shots, looking to take Ben Rothwell's head off. Probably knocked him out where he was standing. The cage was keeping him up 3 times. He starts to fall. Then Herb Dean starts to kind of step in and stop it. But then Ben Rothwell goes in for a takedown and starts to get the takedown, or there starts to be a scramble. And then Rogério de Lima's looking back at Herb because he felt Herb touch his waist. And then Herb steps in. It was kind of a weird stoppage. But in this case, I'm a guy who likes to complain about referees. I don't really blame Herb in this situation. He was trying to keep himself out of harm's way. They were slinging wild, heavy shots. But Ben Rothwell gets absolutely destroyed. He was KO'd multiple times. I think it ends up going down as a TKO 32 seconds into the first round. But this was a crazy fight. I mean, there were so many stoppage wins on this card. It's unbelievable. Felicia Spencer versus Lee Ledson, do not care about in the least bit. Terrible fight. Featherweight division does not exist. She wins by TKO in the 3rd round against a girl who's now or was 5-3. Miguel Baeza versus Khaos Williams, amazing fight. Khaos Williams gets the 3rd round stoppage. It looked like it was going to go Khaos Williams' way in the first round, but then Baeza started landing his own counter strikes. I think I might have even gave Baeza the first round after the second half of the first round. Second round really like it was starting to go Baeza's way. He was, he got Khaos Williams' respect. Was chopping the legs at the calf, landing nasty shots. Then in the 3rd round, Baeza started to slow down a little bit. Khaos was still pressuring. He throws 2 heavy leg kicks, knocks Khaos Williams off balance from this straight on stance. Khaos Williams was standing with both his feet just right in front of him, not like at a sideways stance. Just starts ripping off crazy combinations, lands right on Baeza's chin, puts him to sleep. Phenomenal performance by Khaos Williams. Looks like an absolute killer. Can't wait to see where he goes in the future. Song Yadong versus Julio Arce, I believe is how you pronounce his name. 2nd round, KO, TKO. Great performance by Song Yadong. Not going to spend too much time on that, but both guys very tentative in the first round. Song Yadong comes out in the second, clips him up. I don't remember the exact exchange that happened. I mean, there was so much craziness that went on this card, even on the prelims too. But a great win by Song Yadong, and the bantamweight division is absolutely stacked. Amazing fight card. But obviously I'm going to spend I briefly went over the entire main card, but really we wanted to talk about Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. I don't think there was really any, I can kind of briefly mention a couple of these prelims. Cynthia Calvillo quits on the stool at the end of the second round after getting brutalized. Didn't watch a lot of the fight, so can't commentate too much on that. Joel Alvarez is a legit contender in the lightweight division. Gets a KO win over Thiago Moises. Just beautiful combinations, ripping the body. Finishes him in the first round. And my question is Joel Alvarez now going to be ranked number 5? Because Islam Makhachev, I think, was ranked number 5 after beating Thiago Moises. So that's my question for that. But guys, fill the chat with questions, comments, whatever you have to say about this fight card. I'm going to read them now. See what you guys have to say. So, what's up, Jacob? Houston Sports. I think Volk beats him again. What's up, Torin Brown? Hank Hill, Yair 5-0. I think that's a little bit insane. Yair had good low kicks for the first 2 rounds. That's the other thing I didn't really mention. Yair was chopping the legs early, but he kind of got away from him, in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. I would like to see him keep going. I would love to see them rematch in the future. I would love to see them. Great fight. What a damn fight. Agreed, Nate. Max isn't a wrestler. It's why he gassed more than usual. Look back at Cody versus Font. Cody gassed because he was wrestling. He can easily outbox Yair with 700 strikes and still be fresh. It was just Yair. Made him mix it up. Yeah, I guess so. Those leg kicks probably caused him to grapple him. Great to see you. Great to hear from you, Nate. Hope you're doing well. Ginge, I just went over the main event. It was amazing. It was a great fight. Did you miss it? Is that why you're asking? David Mark Goddard, didn't see the fight, unfortunately, but glad to hear your prediction was right. Yeah, let me actually pull that up real quick, guys. I want to see what is my prediction record now for the year. I'm going to pull that up real quick. I have a great prediction record so far this year. I'm going to pull up my last. I put my prediction video in every prediction video. I put my prediction record in every prediction video and also in my post fights. So I am 27-11 in main event predictions for this year, and I am 13-5 in UFC title fights. So that's not too bad. I mean, that's a great prediction record, to be honest. Fight Life Nation, what's up? Hope you're doing well. But overall, I mean, what a masterclass performance by Max. Faced a little bit of adversity. Yair was so tough. I mean, when have you seen Max look that beat up at the end of a fight? It's very rarely that you see Max significantly have any damage on his face. And halfway through the fight, I was like, as much as Max has been hit, how does he not have any damage? But unfortunately, as it went on, he got cut up above the eyebrow, absorbed some damage. Great fight, though. Yair belongs in the top 10 of the division, top 5 of the division. He belongs with those guys. A lot of people question that just based on he hasn't fought any super high-quality opponents. But amazing performance. And I can't wait. I mean, I'm going to probably make a video about who I want to see Yair Rodriguez fight next. I really still want to see that Zabit fight. We got blue balled on it so many times. It never happened for injuries. Zabit pulls out. Yair pulls out. I am dying to see Zabit versus Yair Rodriguez, especially after this fight now. Builds it up even more. I thought Yair did way better than I thought. When you think Max is getting old, he turns it on and takes over. Agreed. That's the majority of this post fight. I feel bad because I'm more talking about Yair than I am talking about Max, and Max won. But also, I mean, Yair's boxing was so impressive. He had his hands at his waist, and his head movement was just looking so good. He was firing back counters as Max is just pressuring him and throwing jabs and right hands and ripping to the body. And the fact that his stamina because Max landed some good hooks to the body throughout the 5 rounds. And the fact that, Yair's stamina wasn't that bad and he could have arguably won the 5th round is just astounding to me. Yair was looking like Dustin. I guess so, just super durable, absorbent, able to absorb damage, if that's what you mean. But other than that, I don't know exactly what you mean. But I love the fight. Awesome display of mixed martial arts from both guys. We saw some jiu-jitsu. We saw some wrestling. We saw some great striking. I mean, Yair probably he might have the best kicks in all the UFC. And he landed flush with that head kick in that first round on Max. And Max just ate it. How is Max's chin just so durable? We never see the guy get rocked in fights. It's just insane. I mean, and I know, he was, I kind of said that he was rocked in the first round, but that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration. He was stung in the first round. Both guys got stung in that first round. Back and forth in that first round. I love the fight. I really thought after watching that first round, I said, Yair looks good, but he cannot keep this output up. There was a lot of strikes thrown from Yair the first and second round, and I knew as his stamina started to fade, Max was really going to start to turn it up and put it on Yair Rodriguez. So if you guys have any more questions, put them in the chat. Do me a favor. Do not forget to like the stream. That pretty much does it for my post-fight reactions. If you guys want to support the channel, you can become a member with the link down below. We also have we started up a members-only Discord. We have a bunch of members-only emojis as well as badges. If you guys want to support the channel, that's there. Appreciate you guys joining me for these live streams. Next week's fight card is not looking too great in my opinion. I'm not super excited for next week's fight card. Miesha Tate versus now I can't even remember. Caitlin Vieira or something like that. I can't even remember her name now because now I'm on the spot. Miesha Tate. Ketlin Vieira is her name. I forgot it that quick. I'm not super excited for that card. I don't think I'll be streaming it. It has some decent fights. Adriana Yanez on the main card. But overall, the card just leaves a lot to be desired. But some fight night cards after that are looking incredible. Jose Aldo versus Rob Font is right around the corner. And UFC 269 is right around the corner. Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira. So you guys can be excited for some prediction videos for those. Those will be coming soon. And I think that does it. It doesn't look like anybody else has any more questions about the fight, my opinion on the fight. I'll be putting out some videos about what's next for Max Holloway, probably what's next for Yair Rodriguez, so be on the lookout for those. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And thank you so much for watching. And one last thing, Fight Life Nation, what a shame they had this main event in the Apex. Yeah, I think it was a disservice for Yair, but also it would have been amazing in front of a crowd. So, guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. Don't forget to leave a like before you go. And I will see you guys in the next video or stream or whatever it may be. Amazing fight between Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez. Enjoy the rest of your night.